There's a lot going on in the news. And it seems like I get the most views when I use the animal news anchors. So I brought back Eli Trunkston to deliver the daily news for today. There's so much going on, so much to get to. So let's get to it. Let's talk about President Leon Scum. This dude pulled out a chainsaw to demonstrate or basically use this as a metaphor for how he is slashing funds and cutting down people's jobs. This is how he is sitting up here acting like this is a joke. Meanwhile, so many departments are being impacted. People are not going to be able to pay their bills, eat, feed their children because Elon Musk and Trump are just slashing people's jobs and funding. And like this sign says, immigrants didn't steal my job, the president did. And this woman is holding a job. They laid off my whole crew. This is just this one picture, but there are so many industries that are being impacted because of Leon Scum and Trump. But let's get back to this dude, Leon Scum. Leon Scum appeared at a conservative gathering outside Washington, D.C., waving a chainsaw in the air, showing openness to auditing the Federal Reserve and accusing Democrats of treason. Scum, the Tesla CEO, who has become perhaps President Donald Trump's most influential advisor, spoke Thursday about his crusade to cut government spending and downsize the federal workforce with the administration's Department of Government Efficiency. He's calling Democrats treasonous, and he's calling people impacted by these firings and these funding cuts the parasite class. He reshared this. So people that, probably even people that voted for Trump, they're part of the parasite class because their funds are being shut off, they're being fired, and they're not going to have any way to pay for their homes, food, heat. That is what these people are doing. Another person that showed up was Steve Bannon, and Steve Bannon signed off with a Nazi salute, just like Leon Scum did at the inauguration. These people are playing in our faces. And because of that Nazi salute, French far-right leader canceled CPAC speech, calling out Steve Bannon's Nazi ideology hand gesture. French far-right leader Jordan Bardella on Friday canceled his planned remarks here at the Conservative Political Action Conference after Steve Bannon, the former advisor to President Donald Trump, who is now a popular conservative podcast host, made a hand gesture that some said appeared to be a Nazi salute. Yesterday, while I was not present in the room, one of the speakers, out of provocation, allowed himself a gesture alluding to Nazi ideology. I therefore took the immediate decision to cancel my speech that had been scheduled this afternoon. So while other people were in the room cheering for this and didn't immediately start booing, this person at least had some integrity about himself and took himself out of the equation. The controversy comes a month after Leon Scum was accused of giving a Nazi salute at one of Trump's inauguration events, further embroiling conservatives in a debate about whether their leaders are intentionally paying homage to a brutal regime responsible for the systemic murder of millions of Jews in the 1940s. It's also the most recent incident at CPAC where an attendee appeared to reference Nazi ideology. Bannon's incident, this is what he did. It wasn't an incident, but it says Bannon's incident came Thursday when he spoke to the crowd of conservative activists. The only way they win is if we retreat, Bannon said at the end of his speech. And we're not going to retreat. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight. And then he did his little, you know what he did. Why these people try to act like they're not Nazis but keep on playing in our faces and doing this stuff is wild. But the people that are not white, the coloreds, the LGBTQ that keep still supporting these people, why, when they are clearly bigoted? Why do the colored maggots and the LGBTQ maggots keep supporting these people? I have no idea. But these people are doing all of this. They're celebrating at CPAC, but all of these other groups, all of these people are being fired left and right. Let's look at some of it. There have been about 9 different plane crashes in this first month that Trump has been in office. At least 4 or 5 have been fatal, but they're still letting people go that work in air traffic control. So this article is from Politico. Air traffic controllers cannot do their work without us. The Trump administration has defended its cuts to the FAA by saying safety critical employees weren't affected. Experts disagree. Are y'all still planning on flying this year? If we do travel, it's going to be wherever we can drive to because of this. But this says the first wave of White House order firings at the FAA included employees who play important roles in the safety of air travel, despite the Trump administration's assurances that no critical staff had been axed. More than 130 of the eliminated workers held jobs that directly or indirectly support the air traffic controllers, facilities, and technologies that the FAA uses to keep planes and their passengers safe, according to the union that represents them, the Professional Aviation Safety Specialists. Worries about U.S. air safety have escalated since 67 people died in a crash on January 29th between a passenger jet and an Army helicopter in the skies near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. I would argue that every job at the FAA right now is safety critical, said Jeff Guzzetti, an aviation safety consultant who was a longtime official at both the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board, which investigates accidents. These cuts certainly are not going to improve safety. It could only increase the risk. So that's the FAA cuts and all of that. Now let's talk about the IRS employees that are being axed. Here's how IRS layoffs could impact your tax filing and refund this season. Key points. Thousands of IRS employees are expected to lose their jobs as Leon Scum's DOGE continues widespread cuts to federal spending. The staffing reduction could impact millions of taxpayers expected to file returns before April 15th. While taxpayer service could be impacted, filers can avoid issues by filing complete, accurate electronic returns. So they could just file on their own, obviously. But if you need any help or customer service, good luck to you. IRS funding has been targeted by Republican lawmakers since former President Joe Biden approved $80 billion for the agency via the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. The IRS layoffs have targeted probationary workers with less than 1 year of service or longer in some cases. There were an estimated 15,000 probationary employees at the agency, many who were hired via IRA funds, according to the lawsuit filed by the National Treasury Employees Union and others on February 12th. It says an estimated 6,000 to 7,000 workers may be impacted, and that's according to CBS News and the AP. Now let's talk about USPS. Trump has been coming for USPS ever since his first term. It says, if Trump again moves to privatize the Postal Service, here's what it'll mean for your deliveries. The Trump administration is considering steps that could give it more control over the independent United States Postal Service, according to multiple published reports. It's a move that could upend how Americans get critical deliveries, including online purchases, prescription drugs, checks, and vote-by-mail ballots. The Washington Post first reported late Thursday, citing numerous anonymous sources, that Donald Trump planned to disband the United States Postal Service's Board of Governors and place the agency under direct control of the Commerce Department and Secretary Howard Lutnick. The Wall Street Journal also Friday reported on the plan to dissolve the commission, citing government officials. This is not true. No such EO is in the works, and Secretary Lutnick is not pushing for such an EO, a White House official told CNN. However, the denial from the White House was silent on the question as to whether it is interested in privatizing the service, which is something that Trump has voiced support for in the past. The Post reported that the governing body is taking the threat of it being disbanded seriously enough that it held an emergency meeting Thursday to retain outside counsel with instructions to sue the White House if the president were to remove members of the board or attempt to alter the agency's independent status. There's so many stories. There's so many people being let go, so many people being impacted within this first month that we can't even keep up with. thousands upon thousands of people are sitting up here trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent next week, how they're going to eat today. But, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.